Sport fans, to our weekly high school football preview show presented by our major sponsor, All Valley Mini Storage. Please visit them at www.lcvstorage.com. This week we have two of the three area high schools in action as Asotin takes on Newport at 7 p.m. and Clarkston takes on Deer Park at Clarkston at 7 p.m. Lewiston is on a bye this week after they took on Rigby there at University of Montana and lost 46-0 on that one. Rigby is 4-1 and have beat people up pretty good. Looking forward to seeing how Lewiston bounces back next week as they play Sandpoint. So let's just meet with our coach this week, which will be Jim Holman as our guest. Jim, how you doing today?
Good to be back.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us again. Let's just recap the loss to Freeman last week. Freeman's really good, and like we've mentioned off air, we think we've played probably the number 1 and 2 teams in the state so far. So give us kind of your feel on how the Freeman game went, and some good, the bad, the ugly, all the good stuff there.
Obviously the bad's the score. They beat us up. I thought we played well for the first quarter and a half, quarter and 2/3. It was 14-7. We scored first, 14-7 there late in the second quarter, and then it kind of got away from us. But they just had too many guys that are just older and faster than us. I thought our guys competed pretty well, much better than the week before against Colfax. I was pretty disappointed in how we played against Colfax, just effort wise, and I thought we improved a lot against Freeman. They just had bigger. They were just better than we were, which was tough for us. But like you said, we've played 4 games and played the 1 and 2 teams in the state. But I do fully believe that we're getting better, and guys are growing, and I think things are starting to come together as we head further down the league schedule.
Yeah, so let's kind of talk about Freeman just a little bit. Obviously, pretty good quarterback Freeman has, and have been up on some people as well as you're looking at scores. As the league's starting to shake out a little bit, is a team that's kind of making a leap up to maybe the top echelon of the league, or is it still kind of in question in your eyes?
No, I think Freeman's that team. They were better. I expected them to be good. They were better in person than were on film, and so they played us. They'll play Newport. Don't really know what to expect out of Newport. We get a break this week and only play the 4th ranked team instead of 1 and 2. So, I think top 5 teams. I think Freeman's the class of the league by quite a bit, I would guess, and then I think everything else is going to kind of be up in the air. And I think there's a lot of possibilities that are going to happen over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see kind of how the league starts shaking out as everybody starts getting into the meat of that schedule. But so now we take on Newport, like you mentioned. You got another high ranked team coming into Asotin. Nothing really new for the Northeast 2B. We seem to produce some pretty high quality talent for the state level. Nothing new with Newport. They're beating up on some people as we talked about last time, coming in a little bit different maybe than last year, with a little bit more high, maybe a more prolific quarterback is probably the right word, from Newport last year. Seems like they got a little bit more of a running heavy offense this year. What do you think Panther fans can expect to see Friday night against Newport?
I think get on the head. They're going to run the ball. They're not shy about it. They don't run a lot of different stuff. 5-6 run plays, handful of pass plays. I think they've thrown the ball 20 times in 4 games, so they're going to run the ball and dare you to stop it. And kind of an old school smash mouth football. Double tight stuff, pullers everywhere. It's an offense we've seen quite a bit over our years in the Northeast 2B. Similar to last year, they're not shy about it. They're going to run it, and fortunately, I think one of our things we've done well defensively. I mean, we get up a ton of points, but we've been pretty good against the run. So I think if we can continue to trend that, we'll be in good shape. But I'm excited to see how we compete. we keep telling our guys that, we've been on an uphill climb, teams we played, and it's going to start leveling out to teams I think are pretty similar to us. So, um, hopefully, knock on wood, we can keep competing and maybe more importantly, stay healthy as we get to the second half of the season.
Newport definitely will be a good test with that run game for sure, and I'm excited to see how our guys kind of step up and handle that as a so. I'm excited to see how our guys respond from a tough Freeman team, and I can't wait to come on here next week and talk about some different opponents that maybe aren't ranked quite so high for Asotin there, but it's always good to play tough teams and see where you are, and then see what adjustments you can make. But Jim, I really appreciate you joining us again. Is there anything else you'd like to add before Panther fans can watch you against Newport at 7 p.m.?
No, I think you hit on the head. Glad to see our guys, see where we are. Continue the trend of getting better each week is the goal. It's like, as you're aware, we've been telling our guys week 10 where it's at. If we can win the week 10, you get yourself in the playoffs. So really just trying to trust that process and getting better each week and peaking in week 10 and hopefully in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we challenge Panther fans to come out and check out some Panther football this week, as Lewiston is on a bye, like we mentioned earlier in the show. So, Lewiston fans, if you're looking for some football to watch, come down to Asotin and see Asotin versus Newport at 7.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks, Coach, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you.
All right, Beyond the Scoreboard fans. Once again, I really appreciate you joining us for our episode of our weekly high school preview show. I just want to make sure that we do touch on the other game that's happening in our valley this week, which is Clarkston versus Deer Park. Clarkston ran into a pretty good team in OMAC last week and lost that one 42-0. So they're looking to bounce back and kind of get on track with their opponent Deer Park. Deer Park's also maybe on the smaller side of the GSL 2A level. I think Clarkston and Deer Park are a little bit more at the top end of that population scale for the 2A. So that should be a pretty good matchup, and I'm excited to see how that goes. I know Clarkston's dealing with a little bit about adversity at the moment, and I'm excited to see how Coach Fox and his staff battle through that and continuing to compete with all those guys. There's some talent there, so I'm excited to see how it all starts coming together for them. And I'm really excited for when Clarkston gets their first win, as that it'll be Kyle Fox's first win there at Asotin, and we're going to keep saying it till it happens because I can't wait. And everybody in the valley is rooting for that to happen. And I know it's going to happen soon. So go check out Clarkston versus Deer Park at Clarkston at 7 p.m. on Friday. And then we also just want to make sure that everybody knows Lewiston's on a bye, like we mentioned earlier. They came off a tough loss to Rigby, who is a very, very good football team and a 6A classification there in Idaho. Lost that one 46-0. Rigby's only losses to kind of a perennial power in Bishop Kelly. So they lost that one 29-15, I believe. So that was a good game, good competitive game as well. Just to put in perspective, they beat Coeur d'Alene 38-7. So I think Rigby's got a chance to make some things happen there at the state level here towards the end of the year. And, in that regard, so does Lewiston. Lewiston is coming up, with a week off and getting ready to jump right into their first league opponent, which is going to be Sandpoint. I'm really excited to see how Coach Hobart gets his players ready for that one. I know that he will do everything he can to make it the best environment there for the Lewiston Bengals. Looks like Sandpoint is off to a pretty good start this season, as they are 5-1. Their lone loss was to Coeur d'Alene, and that score was 50-9. They've beat a few Pocatello, Davis, Post Falls, Tenton, and Twin Falls in overtime. So they have had a pretty decent schedule there and have made their way through it. Played some pretty close games. And then obviously that blowout loss to Coeur d'Alene. So excited to see how the staff there at Lewiston handles Sandpoint. And as always, go root them on that following week, and we'll touch base with Coach Hobart and get a little bit more information on that as next week begins. Once again, the games that are being played here in the Valley are Asotin versus Newport at 7 p.m. and Clarkston versus Deer Park, and that is played at Clarkston High School, and that should be a very fun matchup. So please go out and support your Bantam football, and that game is also at 7 p.m. So once again, fans, I want to thank our major sponsor, All Valley Mini Storage. www.lcvstorage.com is where they can be found for any information on your storage needs. So can't wait to recap these games that are happening tomorrow, next week, and we will have a couple new coaches that will be joining us next week. So I'm excited to see and grow the show a little bit and get some more information out about high school football. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Once again, thanks for joining us on Beyond the Scoreboard.